Alright, I might switch back and forth for a little bit just because, honestly, the other one's getting a little boring. So let's see how this goes. Introduction. I couldn't make any judgment on the Summa, except to say this. I read it every night before I go to bed. If my mother were to come in during the process and say, "Turn off that light, it's late," I, with lifted finger and broad, bland, beatific expression, would reply, "On the contrary, I answer that the light, being eternal and limitless, cannot be turned off. Shut your eyes." Jeez, rude little kid. Or some such thing. In any case, I feel I can personally guarantee that St. Thomas loved God because, for the life of me, I cannot help loving St. Thomas. What the hell does that even supposed to mean? It's from Flannery O'Connor, The Habit of Being. So, because let's see. I can guarantee St. Thomas loved God because, for the life of me, I cannot help but love St. Thomas. So, I love chocolate ice cream, therefore chocolate ice cream must love God? Doesn't even follow. Alright, off to a rough start, but 1. On St. Thomas. St. Thomas Aquinas was certainly one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived. To my mind, he is the greatest, for at least 8 reasons. Truth, common sense, practicality, clarity, profundity, orthodoxy, medievalism, and modernity. First, and most simply, he told the truth. Well, I'll make my own judgment on that. That simple and unfashionable purpose of philosophy that is so often fudged, nuanced, or forgotten today. The following quotation should be chiseled on the doorposts of every philosophy department in the world. The study of philosophy is not the study of what men have opined, but of what is the truth. I agree with that. I think all the time we don't really need the old philosophers' ancient words of wisdom because each of us is capable of coming up with that shit on our own. Descartes says that the one thing he learned about philosophy in the university that stuck with him was that one could not imagine any doctrine so bizarre or unbelievable that it has not been seriously taught by some philosopher or other. What was true already in 1637 is triply true today. St. Thomas, however, is the master of common sense. Yeah, we'll see. He has an uncanny knack of sniffing out the obviously right position amid 100 wrong ones. This holds true especially in ethics, the real test of a philosopher. Some great philosophers like Descartes, Hegel, Heidegger have no philosophical ethics at all. From what I know about those people, that's not true. Others like Hobbes and Hume and Kant and Nietzsche have ethics that are simply unlivable. Citation needed. St. Thomas is as practical and plain and reasonable in ethics as Aristotle or Confucius or your uncle. 3. St. Thomas was a master of metaphysics and technical terminology, yet he was also such a practical man that as he lay dying, he was talking about 3 things: a commentary on the Song of Songs, a treatise on aqueducts, that would be interesting, and a dish of herring, which is a red herring. Ordinary people, popes and kings, wrote to him for advice and always got back sound wisdom. Always, without. I know of no one since St. Paul who is so full of both theoretical and practical wisdom. Those who love truth passionately usually also love simplicity and clarity of style. That's true, for me. So that as many people as possible can benefit from this precious thing, truth. Father Norris Clark, S.J. of Fordham University, the most Aquinas-like mind I know of all living men, says there are 3 kinds of philosophers: those who at first seem clear, but upon further readings become more and more obscure; those who at first may seem obscure, but become clearer and clearer upon each reading. St. Thomas is the prime example of this kind, and those who seem obscure at first and remain obscure. St. Thomas aimed only for light, not heat. There is almost never anything personal in the Summa. No rhetoric, no appeal to the irrationality, nothing but lucidity. Can't wait. And depth. Number 5. No philosopher since St. Thomas ever so successfully combined the 2 fundamental ideals of philosophical writing, clarity and profundity. Continental European philosophy in this century has sought and sometimes found depth by focusing on the truly fundamental issues, but at the expense of clarity. English philosophy has sought and often found clarity, but at the expense of depth, concentrating on second-order linguistic questions rather than on those the average person wonders at: God, man, life, death, good and evil. 6. A sixth reason for St. Thomas's greatness is decisive only for Catholics, but it should at least be decisive for all Catholics, according to the Church's own teaching authority. And to be a Catholic means to believe in such a thing. Yeah, it's to be delusional. St. Thomas is the primary theological doctor or teacher of the Church. During its proceedings, the Council of Trent placed the Summa on the high altar in second place only to the Bible. Pope Leo XIII in Aeterni Patris told all Catholic teachers to restore the golden wisdom of St. Thomas and let them clearly point out its solidity and excellence above all other teachings. So already we're seeing a book that gives authority to the church authorities make everybody read it. Yeah, of course, you know. Even non-Catholics must go to St. Thomas to understand Catholic theology and philosophy. Why would you even care to? You can never understand a philosophy from its critics or dissenters. In 4 colleges and universities, I have never had a good course on any philosopher. Well, yeah, you're in college and university. There's no good philosophers in academia. I've never had a good course on any philosopher, including many philosophers I disagree with, from a critic, and never a worthless one from a disciple. Never had a good course from a critic, and never a worthless one from a disciple. Sounds like this guy loves the passion of certainty. St. Thomas was crucial for the medieval era. He fulfilled more than anyone else the essential medieval program of a marriage of faith and reason. Good luck. Revelation and philosophy. Again, good luck. The biblical and the classical inheritances. In so doing, he held together for another century the medieval civilization's intellectual soul, which, in his century, was threatening to break up like a ship battered by huge waves of division, caused mainly by the rediscovery of the works of Aristotle and the polarization of reactions into the fearful hearsay hunting of traditionalists and the fashionable compromising of modernists. Aquinas stands as a shining example of an alternative to both the fundamentalists and the liberals of his day, and of any day. Okay. You may not agree that St. Thomas is history's greatest philosopher. I'm still waiting to see if he is a philosopher. He has to love wisdom to be a philosopher. But he was certainly the greatest philosopher for the 2,000 years between Aristotle and Descartes. Maybe the bestest philosophers didn't write anything down. They were too busy living, you know? He represents the medieval mind par excellence, and the medieval ages are the parent and source of all the divergent streams in the modern world, like a mother whose many children went their own various ways. Not only does St. Thomas represent a unity of ingredients that were later to separate, but also a unity of ingredients that existed separately before him. In reading St. Thomas, you also meet Thales, Parmenides, Heraclitus, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Plotinus, Proclus, Justin, Clement, Augustine, Boethius, Dionysius, Anselm, blah, 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 blah. For one brief, Camelot-like moment, it seems that a synthesis was possible. Our fractured world has been praying, forgive us our synthesis ever since. I don't know if that phrase means anything. Finally, St. Thomas is important for us today precisely because of our lack. Lack of what? Timeless truth is always timely, of course, but some aspects of truth are especially needed at some times. And it seems that our times badly need 7 Thomistic syntheses. 1, of faith and reason. 2, of the biblical and the classical, the Judeo-Christian and the Greco-Roman heritage. 3, of the ideals of clarity and profundity. 4, of common sense and technical sophistication. 5, of theory and practice. 6, of an understanding, intuitive vision of, and a demanding, accurate logic. Okay. And 7, of the one and the many, a cosmic unity or big picture, and carefully sorted out distinctions. I think it is a safe judgment that no one in the entire history of human thought has ever succeeded better than St. Thomas in making not just one, but all 7 of these marriages, which are essential to mental health and happiness. For some reason, many people seem so threatened by St. Thomas that they instantly label any admiration for, use of, or learning from him as slavish, unoriginal, and authoritarian. Something that they do with no other thinker. Geez, what a straw man. Who are these many people that seem so irritated, that seem so threatened? If he's got some good shit to say, let him say, and we'll pick it out. And if not, on to the next guy, on to the next book. Of course, St. Thomas cannot be the be-all and end-all of our thought. He cannot be an end, but he can be a beginning, like Socrates. Cool. I hope I learned some things. Of course, we must go beyond him and not slavishly confine our thought to his, but there is no better bottom story to our edifice of thought. Hopefully so, because, yeah, I like good thoughts, so if we can get to the bottom of them, that sounds awesome.